May 23rd, 1944, 7 kilometers south of Cassino, Italy. Oberfeldwebel Kurt Schneider grips the commander's hatch of his Tiger I tank. As morning sun burns off the mist from the Liri Valley, 56 tons of steel and firepower rumble beneath him, tracks chewing through the dirt road, leading toward Allied positions. His crew, driver Franz Weber, gunner Emil Hoffmann, loader Otto Klein, radio operator Hans Dietrich, have survived 12 engagements without a scratch penetrating their 100mm frontal armor. Schneider surveys the landscape through Zeiss binoculars, feeling the familiar confidence that comes with commanding a Tiger. Nothing the British or Americans field can stop this machine. He's witnessed 75mm Sherman rounds bounce off harmlessly. Anti-tank guns create sparks and nothing more. The Tiger's 88mm main gun destroys enemy armor at ranges they can't even return fire. 10 meters forward, he orders into the intercom. Weber engages the transmission. The Maybach engine growls. The road narrows between stone farmhouses, abandoned weeks ago during the Allied push. Olive groves stretch east, their ancient trees shattered by artillery. Schneider marks potential ambush positions, but sees no movement. Radio chatter indicates their Panzer company advances on parallel routes, securing the approaches for infantry following behind. Standard doctrine. The Tiger leads, absorbs whatever the enemy throws, survives, destroys. It's worked flawlessly since Tunisia. Weber navigates around a crater, keeping to the road's edge where the dirt looks more compacted. The right track passes over a barely visible disturbance, soil slightly fresher than surrounding earth. The contact fuse triggers. 11 kilograms of TNT and amytal explosive detonate directly beneath the Tiger's belly armor. The blast wave, channeled upward by the mine's casing, strikes the tank's thinnest armor, 28mm, protecting the hull floor. Metal ruptures. The explosion lifts the entire tank. Inside the crew compartment, time fractures. Schneider feels the tank rise beneath him. Impossible. Nightmarish. The world inverts. His body slams against the hatch as 56 tons of steel flips completely, crashing back to earth upside down. The impact drives his teeth through his lip. Darkness. Ringing silence broken by screaming. Fire extinguisher contents spray everywhere. Ammunition rounds tumble loose. Something wet runs down his forehead. Blood. Whose blood? Schneider hangs suspended by his straps, trying to process what happened. The Tiger rests inverted, turret crushed into mud, hull pointing skyward. "Report," he shouts, voice raw. Hoffmann responds with groans. Klein isn't moving. Diesel fuel leaks from ruptured lines, pooling on what used to be the ceiling. The radio crackles uselessly, antenna sheared off. Through the damaged periscope, Schneider sees sky where ground should be. His invincible Tiger flipped like a toy. Weber kicks at the driver's hatch, now positioned beneath him. It won't budge, jammed by the impact or buried in earth. Panic rises. They're trapped in an overturned steel coffin, filling with fuel vapor. "Emergency exit," Schneider orders. Hoffmann manages to manipulate the turret escape hatch, now accessible only because they're inverted. One by one, they squeeze through, dropping into mud, dragging Klein's unconscious body. Behind them, their Tiger, previously unstoppable, lies helpless as a beached whale. Hauptmann Werner Vogel arrives 30 minutes later with recovery vehicles. He circles the overturned Tiger slowly, repeatedly, as if examining a mirage that might dissolve. "One mind did this." His voice carries disbelief. Schneider nods, still shaking. Vogel kneels, examining the crater beneath the tank's exposed belly. The armor there, designed only to resist small arms and shrapnel, has been torn open like paper. Jagged metal petals curl outward from a hole large enough to crawl through. Intelligence mentioned new British mines, Vogel says quietly, pulling a folded report from his map case. Heavy anti-tank mines. We thought they meant slightly larger charges. Something our belly armor could withstand. Schneider stares at the document, remembering dismissing similar warnings during briefings. The Tiger's reputation made everyone careless. Frontal armor could stop anything. They forgot armor only works where it exists, and underneath, they were vulnerable. Medical teams load Klein onto a stretcher. Fractured spine, internal bleeding. Schneider watches recovery crews attach cables to the Tiger's chassis, preparing to right it for assessment. The tank that made him feel immortal now represents betrayal. Every German tanker knows their armor superiority keeps them alive. British Shermans burn easily. American tank destroyers die at range. But this invisible killer that strikes from below, that flips 60 tons of German engineering, this changes everything. And across Italy, dozens more of these mines wait buried in roads. 400 kilometers northwest, in a Royal Engineers workshop outside Naples, Captain James Thornton examines the after-action report describing Schneider's destroyed Tiger. A satisfied smile crosses his face. The mine worked exactly as designed. He spreads technical drawings across a workbench cluttered with detonators, pressure plates, and explosive compounds. His team spent 18 months developing weapons specifically to kill tanks from their weakest point. The Hawkins mine, Britain's first attempt, proved insufficient against heavy armor. Thornton picks up one of the grenade-sized charges, weighing it in his palm. Effective against light vehicles, trucks, even early Panzers. But Tigers and Panthers required something revolutionary. His engineers studied the physics. Explosive force follows the path of least resistance. Place a charge beneath a tank, and the blast channels upward through thin belly armor rather than dissipating into the ground. Sergeant Robert Caldwell enters carrying a Mk VII anti-tank mine, the weapon that flipped Schneider's Tiger. 11 kilograms of high explosive, packed in a steel casing designed to focus blast energy upward. We've laid another 50 on Route 6, Caldwell reports. Engineer teams are mining every approach road the Panzers might use. Thornton nods approvingly. Tigers cost Germany immense resources. Manufacturing time, skilled labor, rare materials. One 30-pound mine eliminates all that investment. The psychological component matters as much as the physical destruction. Thornton has read intercepted German radio communications, prisoner interrogations. Panzer crews trusted their armor absolutely. That confidence made them aggressive, effective, terrifying. Shatter that trust, and even operational tanks become hesitant. Crews start imagining mines everywhere. Advance rates slow. Tactical flexibility disappears. Fear becomes a weapon as potent as the explosive itself. June 12, 1944. Normandy, France. Lieutenant Stefan Muller commands a Panther tank probing Allied positions near Tilly-sur-Seulles. His orders: locate enemy strength, engage if favorable, withdraw if overmatched. Standard reconnaissance. The Panther's 75-millimeter gun and sloped armor make it nearly invincible in frontal engagements. Muller has destroyed 7 Shermans without taking serious damage. Today should be routine. The narrow farm track ahead looks clear. Euler's driver, Corporal Heinrich Bauer, reduces speed approaching a stone bridge. Something feels wrong. The earth too disturbed, the roadway too obvious an approach. Herr Lieutenant, I recommend we find alternate route, Bauer suggests through the intercom. Muller considers this. Alternative routes mean delay, exposing their position longer. Time matters. Proceed slowly, he orders. Watch for suspicious ground. Bauer engages forward gear. The Panther's 45 tons roll onto the bridge approach. The mine detonates under the Panther's left track. Not a Mark VII. This one's a Mark V, slightly smaller, designed for medium tanks. The explosion doesn't flip the Panther, but achieves something equally devastating. The blast tears through the belly armor, ignites ammunition storage, ruptures fuel tanks. Secondary explosions follow instantly. Muller feels heat blast upward through the floor, sees flame erupt around Bauer's position. The driver's screaming lasts 3 seconds before the ammunition detonates, killing everyone instantly. Hauptmann Klaus Zimmermann watches Muller's Panther burn from 800 meters away, black smoke rising into the gray Normandy sky. That's the third tank his company lost to mines this week. Not to enemy tanks, not to anti-tank guns. To buried explosives his crews can't see, can't fight, can't avoid. The psychological toll becomes visible in his men's faces. Exhaustion, mixed with dread. Every advance now feels like Russian roulette. Zimmermann orders his remaining Panthers to halt, dismount infantry to probe the road ahead with bayonets and detection equipment. The process takes 90 minutes to clear 50 meters. By then, British observers have called artillery onto their stationary position. Shells begin falling. Zimmermann faces impossible choices. Advance quickly and risk mines, or advance slowly and absorb artillery. Either way, he's losing tanks and men. The invincible Panzer doctrine crumbles against weapons that cost pounds, but destroy machines worth fortunes. Back in England, mine production accelerates. Factories produce thousands weekly. Mark V, Mark VII, specialized variants for different soil conditions. Royal Engineer teams train constantly in rapid deployment techniques. Lay mines at night along predicted German routes. Camouflage disturbances. Mark locations carefully for later removal. The mines require no maintenance, no fuel, no crews, just patient waiting for 60-ton targets to roll overhead and trigger their own destruction. August 1944, German Panzer training facility Paderborn. Oberst Friedrich Steiner addresses newly trained Tiger crews in a concrete briefing room that once echoed with confident lectures about German armor superiority. Today, his presentation focuses on survival. Behind him, photographs show overturned Tigers, Panthers with their bellies blown out. Your armor will not save you from mines, he states bluntly. The young faces before him show fear replacing eagerness. Steiner explains the physics they never taught before. 100 millimeters of frontal armor stops everything the enemy fires. But underneath, 28 millimeters. Sufficient against small arms, useless against dedicated anti-tank mines. British Mark VII mines generate blast force equivalent to 150 millimeter artillery, except it strikes your weakest point from optimal angle. Survival rate approaches 0. The crews ask about countermeasures. Mine detectors? Too slow. Increased belly armor? Insufficient against shaped charges. No solution exists. September 1944. Belgium, near the German border. Oberfeldwebel Kurt Schneider, recovered from his injuries, reassigned to a new Tiger, leads his platoon along a muddy road through the Ardennes forest. He hasn't been the same since Italy. His hands shake during engine starts. Every shadow on the road looks like disturbed earth. Every depression might hide 11 kilograms of death waiting beneath thin steel. "Halt!" Schneider orders, spotting discoloration ahead. His crew dismounts against doctrine, exposing themselves to small arms fire, and probes the ground with bayonets. They find nothing. 20 minutes wasted. Behind them, the company commander's radio crackles with impatient demands. Schneider ignores them, orders his driver forward at walking pace. The Tiger advances 10 meters. Nothing explodes. His heart rate slowly decreases. This psychological warfare proves as effective as the mines themselves. British intelligence officers review German radio intercepts showing Panzer units advancing at quarter speed, commanders arguing about routes, crews refusing orders to proceed. The mines create paralysis beyond their physical destruction. A minefield doesn't need actual mines. The suspicion alone achieves the objective. German armor, once fluid and aggressive, becomes cautious and predictable. Easier to flank, easier to destroy with conventional weapons. October 1944. Prisoner of War Interrogation Center, England. Hauptmann Werner Vogel sits across from British intelligence officers, his Tiger Company, destroyed during the Lorraine campaign. "When did you realize Germany couldn't win?" the interrogator asks. Vogel considers carefully. "When our Tigers started fearing roads more than enemy tanks. When 60-ton machines stopped, because drivers imagined mines everywhere. You didn't just destroy our armor, you destroyed our confidence." The interrogator shows Vogel production statistics. Over 75,000 British anti-tank mines manufactured and deployed. Cost per mine, approximately 30 pounds sterling. Cost per Tiger tank, 250,000 Reichsmarks, plus years of training for irreplaceable crews. We calculated that psychological impact multiplied effectiveness. For every tank actually destroyed by mines, 5 more were delayed, diverted, or refused to advance. Your armor became a liability, too valuable to risk. December 1944. The Ardennes Offensive, Germany's last major attack. Despite desperate fuel shortages, panzer divisions achieve initial surprise. Then the mines begin taking their toll. One Tiger flipped blocks and narrow forest road, stalling an entire column for 6 hours. Another Panther, belly torn open, forces a company to detour through marshy ground where they become artillery targets. The German advance, dependent on speed, dissolves into cautious crawling. Lieutenant Werner Braun commands a Tiger during the offensive. He watches engineers probe every meter of road while precious hours evaporate. American reinforcements arrive. Braun's Tiger never fires a shot before American tank destroyers destroy it from the flank, while it sits immobile, waiting for mine clearance that never comes. The invincibility that made German armor terrifying evaporated, replaced by vulnerability their thick armor couldn't protect against. By war's end, British anti-tank mines have destroyed or disabled hundreds of German heavy tanks. But statistics don't capture the complete impact. Thousands more tanks were delayed, diverted, or psychologically neutralized by mine fear. Crews who once charged Allied positions now crept forward, scanning ground instead of horizon. 11 kilograms of explosive buried in dirt defeated 100 millimeters of steel by striking where armor ended and terror began.